So, you want to be a lawyer? Well, let me explain a little bit to you what that means. First, I need to explain a little bit what happened in the economy. In 2008, as you know, or should know, the economy was hit terribly hard. All aspects of every profession were hit, especially the legal industry. The reason why is big law firms, the law firms that have thousands of attorneys, they make their money off of big corporations. Big corporations used to take 5% or 2% of their budget and devote it to legal concerns that they had. They're trying to win cases or trying to fight legal battles that they had. Well, in 2008, when everything went bad and they started cutting back, well, the first thing they started looking at is, wow, we're really spending a lot of money at this law firm. So they cut that. And when they cut that, these big law firms started laying off. Well, on the other end, the law schools didn't decrease the amount of law students they sent out. They didn't decrease the amount of kids they passed the bar, so more kids flooded the market. And the jobs that they thought they were going to have, many friends of mine went through this, had job offers, thought they were going to big firms and got called and said, we don't need you. Well, if you got an offer from a big law firm, you're a very intelligent individual. You did very well in law school. And now that you're not going to a big firm, well, you go down to the mid-size, the small-size law firms and start competing for jobs there. Well, not only were these kids out there competing, there were also all those who were laid off from the big firms out there competing and trying for these mid-sized law firms and small law firms. But at the same time, everybody was hit. Everybody took a hit. So even small law firms, medium-sized law firms were laying people off. As you can see, this happened as a big flood. There's a ton of attorneys on the market. At one point, I went to a job interview, and I sat down with a guy. He had graduated the year before, and he was in a big firm, got laid off. So he started his own law firm, picked an industry he thought was underutilized. A very intelligent guy. I interviewed with him, and he was offering a starting position at $10 an hour. And it was, he said, it got down between me and another guy. And the other guy had graduated from Harvard Law School. Granted, I think he made the right decision and picked the kid with a Harvard Law degree, and I was left out. But I got a sense of really how bad it was. It was really, really bad at that time. And so when you're thinking about going to law school, you understand that we just went through a transition like this. Okay, what is your opinion about taking out student loan debt, $100,000 to $200,000, to become an attorney, realizing that you're probably going to start out making only $40,000 a year?
Well, let me clarify. First of all, the student loan debt, is that including undergraduate or just law school?
It's going to be a combination of both. So it's about $100,000 to $200,000 with a combination of both but let's say 70% of it is law school.
Okay. I think there's two things you have to think about. The first thing is that's a lot of money, and it's going to take a long time to pay it back. Of course, it depends also on the interest rate environment and how much the money's costing to borrow and the schedule to pay it back. But generally speaking, in my opinion, that's a very weighty decision, and it should be made only in the favor of going to law school if you truly have a passion about law. So I guess another way of putting it is would you think it was worth it to go into debt like that if you only made $40,000 a year? Just inflation, yada yada. But for the rest of your life, if becoming an attorney was more akin to becoming a teacher as far as the financial rewards, if the answer to that is yes, if you start a real passion for the law, you find it very intriguing and very rewarding, or you believe you're going to find it very intriguing and rewarding, then I think there's some good, that might be worth it.
In your opinion as a paralegal, what is it like to be an attorney and work at a law office, and what do attorneys really do?
It seems like starting attorneys, like the one that I work for at the Willingham Law Firm, have to do everything for themselves. They do all kinds of law, even though they want to specialize in one area of law. They have to do all kinds of things. It's very difficult to get started in a career in law because everything's referral based, and that takes 5 years to really get going solidly at it. And from what I understand, the student loans are like hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on what school you go to, and it's difficult to pay those back.
Well, since I graduated in 2009, the year after the economy collapsed, I still had the after effects. The legal industry still hadn't recuperated, and I remember as I prepared for the bar, I had it wasn't a solid offer, but it was an offer to come out to North Dallas area and start up a law firm and a financial planning firm, because I also got my master's in financial planning. And as the bar approached, I got the message that it was impossible for my employer to go through with that, and I totally understood because of the situation that he was in the economy. But granted, I still had signed a contract out here in McKinney, Texas, and I didn't have really much of a choice. So I came out here, and the first thing I did is just start knocking doors, calling up attorneys, asking for interviews, and I got a few. And quickly learned that the offers of $120,000 a year are just not true. To be honest, in Dallas, Texas, the area, when you're starting off as an attorney, you're looking around $40,000 a year, unless you're going to a big law firm. That's what your offers are going to be around. Unless you speak Spanish, you might get a little bit more, but that's about the range that you start off at. Now, you look at $40,000 and go, that's ridiculous, but you're really worth nothing to the law firm your first year. They really are doing you a service by taking you on. And so saying 40,000 years, well, I'm not going to go to 3 years and take out all this debt, well, it can change. So I went and worked for a firm down in Dallas for a year, making about that much, and quickly learned how law firms work. I worked for a great employer. He helped me out a ton. I thought it was a wonderful experience. He was brilliant. It was great because he was an attorney the way you think of an attorney. And you're going to learn that when you get out into the field. There are attorneys, and then there are business attorneys. There's guys that know the law, and then there's guys that know how to make money off the law. And he was a guy that knew the law. He knew it backwards and forward, and he was just great to work with. I learned a lot from him. But due to circumstances at his law firm, the economy mainly, I had to look at it as an option that I had to move on if I was going to make a livable wage for me and my family.